Abusiafo aha eye Ghanatube so ensem a ekoso ewo Ghana four corners ni gina no eno na channel we de ebro matenase fefefe mekako medensem aba abusiafo entempa ni dimechi na yenkotie ensem bia ekoso ewo omani.
1 cedi tax on petroleum products. Did you see this coming?
I didn't see this coming. And I didn't see it in the way that it was introduced. And good morning to your viewers.
Yeah.
I believe that a couple of months ago, I think it was 3rd January, at the minister's vetting.
The finance minister.
The finance minister's vetting, when the issue of taxes and revenue came up, he literally intimated that our lazy and non-innovative approach to taxes is what he would not do. Forgetting that when the MPP came to power in 2017, we actually abolished 17 nuisance taxes. It didn't introduce any new burdensome tax until the challenges we faced post-COVID-19 and eventually the crisis which the war, Russian-Ukraine war triggered. Now, beyond that, what also we suffered was a deeply organized hatred for the MPP government as far as a particular tax was concerned, which was the levy. At the time, the conversation was our revenue shortfalls were not allowing government the space, the fiscal space, to continue the projects it was undertaking, as well as meeting basic expenses, paying government workers as we know, as usual. Even despite the challenge during the time when COVID struck, government met its demands and even gave free water slash taxes for frontline health workers, amongst other things. Beyond that, at the last State of the Nation address by the President, Addo, I recall, and I would extract the text and send to you before the show ends.
Right.
At his last SONA, he said we had inherited a legacy debt of $2.5 billion. Now, the energy sector reform program, which government went into with the Bank of Ghana to sit down and see how we would reduce this debt. The concern then was that within 5 years, that 2.5 billion would balloon to 12.5 billion because of interest accrued, amongst other things. Don't forget that there were power purchasing agreements which they said they had gone into, about 32 contracts. They had gone into in anticipation that in the event there's an industrial drive. At the time, that wasn't the explanation. But when MPP came into power and started 1D, 1F, their argument was, the power we accumulated was for you to embark on this vision you have. Don't forget that DUMSO wasn't about capacity. DUMSO was actually about debt management and ability to service debt. They left 2.5 billion. We came to meet 2.5 billion. We serviced the debt. It didn't balloon to 12.5 billion. We kept the lights on. The legacy debts they inherited from us stayed at 2.5 billion. Just a few months ago, you told us you had scrapped levy and people were happy. Yes, why not?
But when you were leaving, the energy sector debt is around 3.7.
3.7 billion?
Yes.
Billion.
No.
$billion.
No.
Billion.
No.
Billion.
No. 2.5 billion. I mean, we can
debts now.
The
debts now is 3.7 billion.
You bring your data. My data here says it's 2.5 billion. And we kept the lights on.
Even yesterday, President Mahama mentioned it.
We kept the lights on. Now, subsequently, you come into power and you make a production and fanfare out of scrapping levy. You tell us that there will be no increase in taxes. This is the words of the finance minister himself just a few months ago. Subsequently, a negotiation on tariffs became an issue where the suggestion from government was over 40%, if I recall. they haggled, went back and forth, and settled at 14.7%. Where even comments from the general public was, but if e-levy is that about 1%, electricity, we all have it in our homes. Why take it all the way to 14.75%? Just a few months ago, well, I'll say weeks, the CD is strengthening, Addo is forcing. That's the new rhyme on the streets. The CD is strengthening, Addo is forcing.
Right.
And when the CD strengthens, we are all happy, because for some of us, if we have to go and buy dollar, at least the rates are lower than it was before. Now, if you say the economy is bouncing back and you are giving yourself all these accolades, why the introduction of this new tax? And in the way that it's almost as if somebody described it as a midnight robbery, because sometimes you wake up, if people experience, you wake up in the morning in your own home and everything is gone, you didn't even realize that you had been robbed.
Yeah.
But what was the urgency with this? Now, what is conflicting for me though is that other experts are saying it's not 1 CD per liter of fuel. It's actually 2 CD per liter of fuel.
How so?
The breakdown. And it was this morning, I was going through it and I'm like, okay, so if this is what is being peddled, then it means that they have not been fair to us. So Joy Online, energy analyst Kojopoku says government is collecting 2 CDs and not 1 CD. They already introduced 95 pesos. With this new addition of the 1 CD is 1.95 CDs, which is essentially
95 pesos introduced.
They introduced the 95 pesos. 1 second. Let me give you the total breakdown. Well, 1 second. I'm not. Don't break my stride. So basically, let me give you the breakdown. There is, in the build-up of the cost of fuel that we purchase at the pump, there's the energy debt recovery levy. There's a road fund levy. There's an energy fund levy. There's a sanitation and pollution levy. There's an energy sector recovery levy. This is beyond the energy debt recovery levy. There's a primary distribution margin. There's a bus margin. There's a fuel marking margin. There's a marketing margin, and there's a dealers, retailers, operators margin in this introduction of this one. So my thing is, if indeed you say we are recovering and we are doing well, why introduce this tax? That's all I'm asking. Why? What's the point of introducing it? And in the way you did it, where is this certificate of urgency? What is ahead of us that scares you so much that you introduce this?
To buy fuel for generation.
Now, another thing. Across, and I can see the budgets of the communications and information ministry at the Jubilee House working, because a lot of people are rationalizing a new tax. No matter how you spin it, a tax is a tax, and I can understand the goodwill they're enjoying, so people are not really paying attention to it. But the minister, however, said it is not. Says this tax is not to pay for debts. No. He says it's actually to buy liquid fuel. Yes, and it's here. And I don't know who to believe or which is which. So what are you telling us? That we are paying for legacy debts, or we have to buy liquid fuel? And the letter is here, where he says that. I'm reading from 1 second. Sorry, I have to be quick with this because you guys are so time conscious here, which I really appreciate. It's true. He said that, yes, the letter is here, sorry. The Energy Sector Levies Amendment Bill passed. There's the last but one paragraph where it stated the electricity sector of the country has experienced a significant shift over the years. While the country now is heavily reliant on thermal power generation to supplement hydroelectric sources, the cost of liquid fuel to power the thermal plant generation plants is not included in the current electricity tariff build-up. resulting in a significant revenue shortfall in the procurement of liquid fuel. This, he says, is the reason for it. Yet all their communicators,
not the main reason.
Well, that's per what is here. I do believe that it is no longer just paying for debt, but to buy liquid fuel because it is not captured in the build-up of the pricing.
Very well.
I wait.
Sure.
The double standards therein is that you cannot actually paint a particular government evil after an introduction of a tax, especially when there were severe challenges. What was even worse was how they delayed the passage of that e-levy and made Ghana look horrible in the eyes of the general public, no, of the global public, if I should say so. We had parliamentarians literally engaging in fisticuffs, and we all discussed here. It was played across. Look, even I remember when e-levy was passed. That day was a weekend of the president's birthday and Black Stars qualifying, and I was saying congratulations for the passage, not because I wanted to see a tax introduced, but because of the indignity of what we had gone through and seen. But here we are today, I didn't catch it. That thing had nothing to do with the government. But here we are, where after demonizing, after telling us you are doing well, after telling us that the government, the economy is recovering, where we don't even know what policies you introduced to even make the cedi strong. You can't even articulate what you did to even strengthen the cedi. You have introduced this cross-cutting, razor-cutting tax, because once it hits the pumps, you would see an increase in prices of everything, good services, everything that we experience in this country.
Madam Asapa, some Mechi, and my cotier, and some no with me an opportunity I share views on the issues at our comment section. Now, you better bread I can kind Nina Eddie amount of fair as my messenger Musono, Mema or Fiscal over subscribe. Now I hate it notification link in the so and the amount of fair I feel so. Mema or reviews so be share never fair. It was for aha. Ghanatube send everything and come. Modofo snow, women, and snazzy, Eddie, and Sisi, my